He's grumpy because I'm on the floor instead of the bed, so he can't like sit
Hmm.
on my lap or be a part of book club, and he's annoyed.
Well, he's there, like he's there. I mean, come on, Indy. Don't
He's
be.
there, but he's on the couch. That's
He's always part of book club.
Yes, he's like our unofficial like fifth member.
Exactly.
All right, so
Okay.
hi, we're live. Me and my owl and my woodland fairy
Wait.
friends.
Me and my wine.
Oh, it's so cute. So what's happening? What's going on? What is this insanity? It's only lovers left in the library. We're a romance book club, and we read romance in a genre with vaginal fantasy. And this month we were reading. Uh,
Pillars of the Earth.
Filler.
no, not the Earth. No, I'm trying to remember the genre. It's like fantasy romance.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fantasy romance?
Yeah.
Okay, and so this month we read The Pillars of the World.
Yes.
Not to be confused with Pillars of the Earth, which is that super famous Ken Follett novel that I thought we were reading. I'm like, whoa, we're reading like that? No, we're not. So
I have no
Dense.
idea.
but this is pretty dense too. I like. Did you guys see
You can't see it on the camera.
my bookmark? It's okay. It says balls.
It says balls.
Okay, so our theme this month was kind of like fae, because the book has like fae fairy elements to it. So I didn't feel like dressing up.
We take turns. I didn't dress up last time, so
I was just really tired. I came out of spring break and I just was not motivated to do it. However, I did bring my tea in my little owl cup, and I'm officially either the fairy of sass, so I inspire anyone who needs like a really quick retort. Okay. Or like you need a really good comeback. I'm there, like whispering in your ear, giving you like something really
I wish
clever.
you could help me with that. I'm the worst at that.
Well, I'm right here. I have awesome vocabulary skills too. I use words like
True, and I tried.
and or AKA the fairy of no fucks given today. That's me, and I'm having tea. So Andrea, what's your theme and what are you eating / drinking?
I'm like the fae of like all critters, animals, whatever. Um, mostly because I was kind of sort of in love with the Robert Redford fae in the book.
Horse Lord.
Yeah, the horse lord was like, ooh. Just any scene that had horses in it was those are definitely the sexiest scenes, I will say. So I'm fae of the critters. I don't eat critters, so stop, Indy. I have a critter who's usually a part of this, but he's being grumpy today. And I'm not drinking anything yet. I'm eating pasta because I was really, really hungry.
We're hungry girls. We hungry girls. I came home and like devoured a lasagna.
I have Chipotle leftovers waiting for me.
Ooh, Chipotle.
It's over there.
Wait, is there Chipotle in the woods? There's Chipotle in the woods.
Yes.
There's Chipotle everywhere.
Obviously. Duh.
Tashay, what are you the fae of?
Hi. So I went ham. Since there's so many different characters, I couldn't decide because you can either be like a fey lord, or you can be a wood creature, or you can be like a witch. So I decided I would just go with like forest dryad because I have this really cool green liner, and so I gave myself
Why not?
this, and then my hair's actually green. The lighting in here sucks, but my hair's actually the same color as this makeup. So if I were outside, I would just have really matching hair and makeup. And I'm drinking wine because it's got fruit in it, and so
Sure.
I feel like they party.
You don't need to justify your drink. It's cool. Like, no one's judging you. We're not real fairies. Like, we're not assholes like the fairies in this fucking book.
Oh my god, they're
Oh my
such
god, like the
dicks.
biggest asshole.
They're just really snobby is the problem.
God, we get that to the extreme. Okay, so I said that we had read Pillars of the World by Anne Bishop. I'm going to read the back summary so that, like, we all get a sense of, oh, hey, wait, I'm wearing, like, this Little Mermaid count because I'm wearing my Little Mermaid leggings.
Sure, there's a crab. Yeah, you could be a Selkie. You could be a Selkie. You could be part Selkie, because that's what's his face's. What's her face's dad was a Selkie.
Oh yeah. It's true.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway.
Christina is a Selkie who's on spring break.
Yeah. Coming out of spring break. It's like hungover from spring break.
She has to go back into the sea.
Yeah. Okay, so it says, the trees whisper of danger. The young... Sorry.
By trees, you mean my eyebrows.
No, they look pretty leafy too, but no, they're not dangerous. They just look sassy, you know, sassy.
Okay, go on.
The young in a long line of witches. Ari senses things are changing for the worse. For generations, her kin have tended the old places, keeping the land safe and fertile. But is there an echo? I can hear myself.
A little bit.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
But with the summer moon, the mood of her neighbors has soured, and Ari is no longer safe. The Fae have long ignored what occurs in the mortal world, passing through their shadowy roads only long enough to amuse themselves. But the roads are slowly disappearing, leaving the Fae clan isolated and alone. Where harmony between the spiritual and the natural has always reigned, a dissonant chord now rings in the ears of both Fae and mortal. And when murmurs of a witch hunt hum through the town, some begin to wonder if the different omens are notes in the same tune. And all they have to guide them is a passing reference to something called the Pillars of the World.
Raise your hand if you knew what the Pillars of the World were about halfway through the book.
Damn! So easy to solve. Non-mystery. Okay, but I think it's... I like how in the back of the book it says, oh, it's like a passing reference. But it generally is, like, it's not that addressed. It's not that hashed out. Like, I ended the book being like, but wait, what were the what did that have to do with anything that I just read? Like I just read about like mean fae, like mean girls.
And misogyny. God.
The worst. Okay,
talk about having mommy issues. Damn.
I'm serious. Okay, so give me your overall impressions. What did you think of the book? Just like off the, when you're done reading it, you were like, I'm done. This was garbage, or this was amazing.
I can go first. I feel like, it happens a lot in books that, like, what's going on way before the characters, obviously, because we're, like, out of the story and can see everything. But I feel like in this case, I figured everything out really early on, and a lot of the time I was just like, all right, come on, guys, like, catch up, like, figure this out so we can stop, like, these bad things and, like, fix the problem. Like, I was impatient to just get to the end and, like, see it all solved, because it was so easy in my head to, like, figure out that I just couldn't get why it was taking them so long.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with. So I don't know if you were done. Sorry, I don't want to like interrupt you.
No, that's totally fine. I'm done.
No, but I agree with you. It was good. I liked it.
I liked it. I'm not saying I didn't like it. It was just one of those books where I was like, all right, guys, come on, get your shit together. Like.
Yeah, I felt like there was a lot of stuff happening, but not that much at the same time, and it wasn't moving fast enough for me.
Yeah.
It was very obvious what had to be done, but everyone was such an idiot. Like, everyone was a real big idiot about it. I mean, I enjoyed it, but the book, for me, The Pillars of the World, the title, is, like, very misleading, because that's the least that it's about, to be honest. That's the least, like, thing that it's about. It's about a weird friendship love triangle thing between like this witch and then horses, and then like women being treated like garbage, And that's what the book was about. And then the Pillars of the World was like, oh yeah, and then like in the last few chapters, it gets like,
by the way.
And then it's like, oh, by the way, you know, we don't remember, but hey, now we're remembering, and whoop, Pillars of the World, here we go. So.
Oh, God. I know. I halfway through the book, I was like, oh, there's a lot of stuff going on here. This is interesting. Oh, these things are weaving together, and I really like that there's so many female characters who are like strong presences, and they're interesting to read, and oh, cool, what's going on here? But then at some point, I was like, this could be two different stories. You could take out anything that has to do with the Fae and just get rid of it and have it be a story about these witches who are not accepted in the town they're from, and the fact that the death that's happening, like the murder that's being committed by these cleaners,
Inquisitors,
by these visitors, by these cleansers, all these murders are breaking the connection between the magical world and the real world, and it's killing the land. Like, that in and of itself would have been a good story. Like, you're murdering the witches, you know what you're doing, you're fucking yourself in the long run, because now there's no balance between the magic and all these worlds are collapsing. You could have other creatures play a role, like a supporting role, in that they are also being affected by this break between the mortal world and the, Tir Lane, but they kept just like wedging in these chunks where the Fae are just being dicks, and they're just being like classist, and like racist,
and like stupid, so stupid.
They're being that. No, they're being that person that goes to the restaurant and they're like, "Is this organic?" It's like, "Is this?" But where did this come from? Can you just? I feel like you're lying to me. Can you just take this away? Can you just take this away? But I'm not gonna pay for that, and I want. Just bring me something else. That's what the Fae are in this story. They're just like not satisfied with anything and like persnickety and uppity.
God, they're the worst. It's just
and
like
I'm like, stop.
I've like hated the Fae the most. Like, I'm like,
yeah.
What?
Even the guy who's supposed to be the like, hey, hot stuff. I was like, oh my God, stop talking.
Balls.
Stop talking.
Oh my God, girl. Okay, real quick. Before we like get into the book, I was reading in the forums on the Vaginal Fantasy, did like the general discussion forum with people that finished this book, and like this is my first book by Anne Bishop, but I've seen her books before. And I've never read it, so this is my first, and I was like, okay, that's cool. And one thing that I saw a lot of complaints about, that she writes the same story like over and over again. Like, it's a really good story, but it's the same story, and like I don't know if you guys feel like, is it good that we didn't read another Anne Bishop before that? Because okay, I wrote down in general what happens in the story and basically what are the tropes that the author usually accompanies. So there is a special lady. So in this case, it's our character is Ari, right?
Should be Morag.
And she is. It really should. So we have the special lady, and then she is oppressed somehow. In this case, in the Pillars of the World, it's by Adolfo, and the Inquisitors, the women-hating men's right activists.
Oh my God, yes, the Menonists.
The Menonists.
The Menonists.
God, those like bridals freaked me out.
Oh my God, for real. But like, okay, hold on. So then there's a special lady or special ladies that are oppressed, okay? And then other supernatural beings or other people are super attracted to our very special lady, who's like special for no real reason, really, because reasons. And so in this case, that's the Fae kind of like being really, creating this like circle of like pseudo friendship around her.
Yeah.
And then there's also like a ton of violence. And that is really graphic. So those are the pillars of Anne Bishop novels, apparently. The special lady who is being oppressed, and then there's like these other friends that help her out because reasons, and then there's like a ton of violence, and then like there's a redemption at the end of the story, or salvation for the lady.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad that this was my first book by her, because if I knew that it was going to be
that it was formulaic,
I don't think I would have enjoyed it. I don't think I would have enjoyed it as much.
Well, I'm glad we didn't get our experience like stained by something else, reflecting onto that, because it wasn't a bad story, and I liked a lot of the characters. I liked a lot of the elements that were brought to it. That, you know, she was like a nice person. She was nice. I wish there had been more magic. At some point, she finally started doing magic, and the Fae started doing magic, and I put a note, and I was like, about goddamn time. Like,
Hey, there's like the little.
it took so long.
It took a long time.
So
It took a long
long.
time to happen. Okay, so speaking of that misogyny, though, so there is so much woman hating in this book. I was really put off when I first started the book. I was dying for you guys to read it, and I was like really into it as like it did suck me in. Like in the story, I was like, what's gonna happen? Oh my god! And then later, like halfway through, I was just like. But at the beginning, when it's like real graphic, we meet this character called Adolfo, who is like basically a witch hunter. He calls himself the Witch's Hammer, which I was like, wait, in real life, isn't that the title of the book? Like the book that the people used to use to like identify witches?
I think so.
The Hexanama. I remember that from history class. Anyway, so he makes it his mission to eliminate witches from the entire land.
World.
Yeah, the whole like world. The world is Sylvain, and
because his mom didn't hug him. That's the entire plot is because his mom didn't hug him.
Yeah, got an inferiority complex, like mommy issues, and then he's also a huge hypocrite because he can do magic too.
He just doesn't like women doing magic. When women do magic, it's fucked up and it's satanic and it, like they're communing with the evil one. When men do magic, it's all good.
Like for some reason, I don't know, I was just really taken aback by his methods. Like, not to say that the whole thing isn't fucked up, you know, because he's like, I'm going to pick these women and call them witches, even if they are or they're not, and kill them and whatever, he doesn't care. But like, those bridles really freaked me out. So, like, for people who haven't read the book, he would put these, like, kind of, like, horse bridle helmet things on them, and there would be, like, they would have a bit to, like, go in their mouth, just like a horse, and then it would have, like, spikes, like, on the sides, or, like, the really intense one had, like, spikes that would go in your eyes, and
And they were killing, like, everybody. Like,
yeah.
pregnant women were being murdered. They were drowning the shit out of them.
He would rape them, too. He would rape them.
It was crazy. One woman was murdered mid-childbirth. Mid-childbirth. They bury her, and they tie her legs together. What the fuck?
Okay,
Yeah.
so this is a part with I marked a part with the bridle. He's talking to this other man about.
Oh my gosh! Yes.
Bridle. Okay, so he says metal is used for some like Sax's face turned bright red. He stared at the ground. Still, it looks like a harsh thing to do to a woman because it's like they put this thing in there.
Yeah.
Now, it's literally a horse bridle.
Yeah.
Adolfo smiled indulgently. Metal is used for witches. For other women, the scold's bridle is made of leather, and a man tends it with the same care he gives the bridle of his favorite mare. It does to her no harm. The shame of wearing it is sufficient to teach her modesty and pleasing behavior. Even my own cherished wife must from time to time wear the bridle. At first, she resented and resisted being disciplined. Now she is grateful for that sign of my deep affection and concern for her well-being. Oh! It was moments like this where I'd just be like, I need 5 minutes because
watch his 5 minutes of Michelle Obama doing something on YouTube.
Oh my god, listen to 5 minutes
Close
of
his YouTube.
Mom Never Told You. Just something to balance it out. It was really intense. The way that they tortured and killed the witches was like really reminiscent of.
You know, that's like an extreme example, but even like there were like smaller instances of it. Like anytime like a fae would talk about like sleeping with a woman or whatever, it was very much like they should be grateful to have me, and like here's a trinket to like say my thank you for being a great lay, and off I go. Like it was just very like there was like very loud misogyny, but there was also like very like quiet instances of like, the men are up here and the women are like.
Yeah, and that it wasn't just restricted to the Inquisitors, because like they clearly hate women, and Adolfo has convinced all of these men who also have like some sort of power, because Adolfo has powers, but he was rejected somehow because his mom had slept with a fae, and so he was like half magical or something, and he could do magic.
Yeah, his mom was a witch, but she lied about it. And then when his powers came in, his mom accused his dad of being part fae. She's like, well, something's wrong with you because he has magic. How dare you? You lied to me. You didn't tell me you were pure. And actually it was because she was a witch, and she was just hiding who she was. So, like, I get his mama was a hypocrite. I get it. I understand. You've been hurt. Fine. But damn, man, you work that shit out in therapy. You don't go out and amass an army of, like, other Maninists. And, like...
Oh boy, he rounded them up, Inquisitors, and then spread about a lot of misinformation. And so he like said, that Wiccan fae, like, evil witches that are communing and having sex with the evil one, and like corrupting young men and doing this and doing that. Meanwhile, he knows that he's full of shit. Like, he believes that, but he's also full of shit because he's doing it to help the men clear the land that it might be owned by witches, right? That, he's like, gets hired by men who are like, yeah, I want this land, but this witch is there, or this woman is there, so he comes in to town and is like, there's a witch here, and he himself clogs up the magic in that town, and then starts making bad shit happen, and then blames it on a woman, a witch or no witch, and then, like, kills her.
And then the land reverts to the person who hired him in the first place, very discreetly, like, well, she's dead now, so I guess this land's mine. Thanks.
It's true. All of the characters have like this really ingrained kind of like women are shit. That the best thing that could happen to a woman is to get visited by a Fey Lord. And have the sex with him, but if there was like a half breed baby, then like even Diana, like
the huntress,
she's got a dog, right? And the dog like has sex with like a regular dog, and she like,
oh my gosh, that pissed me off.
A bitch. She's like, I know that she means it like female dog, but I thought it was really on the nose when she's like, the bitch this and the bitch did that, and she didn't like the bitch anymore. And I was like,
I stopped petting her the day she slept with like a non-Fey like dog.
I'm like, really? You couldn't leave the dogs alone. You had to bleed the misogyny into the fucking female dog. Female dog can't just go hang out. You're the one that let the female dog be near a normal dog. Maybe if you were a better pet owner. Maybe you should have got her fixed. Please pay and neuter your pets, Faye.
What are the dogs called?
Shadowhounds.
Shadowhound. Like, spay and neuter your shadowhounds and cats, okay?
This is a message brought to you by the ASPCA of Faye.
Dear Elaine SPCA.
Dear Elaine. Yes.
So the Inquisitors are killing all the witches, which basically is shutting off the connection. Spoilers. Shutting off the connection to this like magical realm where all these fae live in. It's like this awesome place that it's just apparently freaking amazing.
It's California. They live in California. The weather never changes. There's always plants.
And so like the highway gets clogged and they can't get back there anymore. They can't go back and forth, and that's kind of weird. Other instances of like awful people with awful attitudes towards women. There's this character called Royce.
Oh my god.
That guy was a piece of shit.
That douchebag. Jesus Christ.
He
Indy! Sorry. There you are. There you are. Oh.
He wants my Oreos, that's why.
No, Indy. No. Away, Shadowhound. Away.
Okay, let me see. So, Neil is like this guy who...
Oh, Neil. Like the one redeeming character.
Bro guy that lives in the town with Ari, and like she had a thing with him, but then he was an asshole. He was like, "Oh, you're gonna lift your skirts for me again." Like whenever he talked, I would make that. He's like, "Hey Ari, What are you gonna do tonight?
Because he was like the football jock in all those high school movies where he's like torturing the poor, like kind of nerdy girl, and then when people leave, he's like, "Hey, you want to go back to my place? My parents are out of town." And she's like, I'm okay. He's like, "Nah, come in. If I can't have you, no one can. I'm gonna tell everyone you're a slut." She's like, what? I don't understand. Her one mistake was that she did believe him when he first started hitting on her. But I guess, she didn't have any friends and no one would talk to her because she was a witch. So he was nice to her. He was nice to her for like a week, and she was like, maybe he can be my friend. And then he like forced her to hook up, and afterwards he was like, you are a slut. And it's like,
you wouldn't even put my dick in your mouth. God.
God, what kind of a slut doesn't put a dick in her mouth, you slut? And she's like, I don't understand.
I don't, like, can you stop? Just get away from me, okay?
Please stop calling me a slut. You're still in my house. I don't know.
Yeah, and then he's got a stepbrother, and this is the other character, Neil. Neil is a human character, and Neil was pretty cool. Like, I didn't like him at first. Full disclosure, I was like, this guy's a kitty. Like,
I never liked him at any point.
Yeah, but the book was going to have her make a choice. So
I know, but he's too like wimpy.
No,
okay.
I get you.
Tell me if you agree or if you don't agree. He is to this book what Harry Connick Jr. is in Hope Floats. And you know how I feel about Harry Connick Jr.
Harry Connick Jr.
I haven't seen that movie.
Oh my God. Okay, Andrea. Harry Connick Jr.
Will Grace the last season of Will and Grace.
Harry Connick Jr. Harry Connick Jr. is basically the guy they cast when you don't want the main character to end up with someone who's like super handsome or jockey or whatever, and you want her to end up with someone who in theory is a nice guy, but usually in every movie he is always
attractive about him at all.
Usually in every movie he's always after the main character from the very beginning, being that guy who's like, you know you're gonna end up loving me eventually. You know that he's that guy in the song that is like, just like, I'll be here waiting until you change your mind. He's that guy. And I hate him. I'd rather every female character, whoever gets cast as his opposite, be alone.
Like, she didn't even really have like any chemistry with him. I mean, like,
he's like, I guess he's nice.
I don't know. It was just
like the men in this book, except for the Horsemaster, were worth it.
Horsemaster is so good.
Yeah, Robert Redford is like the only man who was like decent in her life.
Yes.
But I will say this though. I did think that Neil, for all of his like wimpy Harry Connick Jr.-ness, he did have some redeeming qualities. For one, he wasn't icked out about her period.
Oh my God, yes.
True.
I did give him 1 point for that. 2, when he is waiting for her, he says, look, I'm going to give you a year, and then I'm going to go with or without you. So he was like, I'm not going to wait around forever. I've been waiting this whole time, but like...
I'm 18 now, so I get my own land, and exactly. I need to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, if you can bounce with me, I will go with you. But I'm giving you, like, I'm letting you know my intentions, but for real, like, I'm going to go. So you can come with me or not. And I was like, yeah, good for you, Neil. Good for you. Because if not, he would have been completely pathetic. Like, completely.
Mm-hmm. And he's like, he knows that she's got sort of like a stubborn personality. So at some point, she doesn't make money. She can barely survive living in this town because people want the witch to help them, but they're hypocrites about almost anything. So when he sees that she doesn't have a lot of food, he like goes and gets her a fish and then convinces her that he got the fish in her river. So like, it's okay, it's really her fish. And he's like, I'm gonna barter to get more stuff. And he's like, no, it's really not a big deal. Don't worry. I'm not doing you a favor. Bless you.
Sorry.
Blessings upon you, sister.
Blessings of the mother.
Blessings of the mother upon you.
Okay,
yeah.
So
Neil was fine, but he was the PETA of this story.
Oh my God, he so was. Although in my casting, he's like Liam Hemsworth. Like he's the rejected party. Like and also he needs to be blonde, in my eyes.
True.
Anyway, all right. So anything else that's like that was? I mean, everyone had like a really shitty attitude. And Ari, for her sake, she was pretty cool, but she was a pretty bland main character for me. Like, she was super bland.
She was just too good. She was very nice. She never had a negative moment.
She was smart though, and I wish that she was cool. She was a cool girl, but there was nothing that stood out. Actually, I found, even though this book is full of assholes, I found those assholes more interesting than Ari. You know, even though I was really upset with them, they were the ones that got my reaction. So let's talk about the love triangle and what happens in the book. So the book starts out, these women getting executed. Meanwhile, in like Brightwood or wherever the fuck she's from.
Yeah, Brightwood.
The Summer Moon Festival is going to start, right? And this is complicated. It's like, I don't know.
It's supposed to be. I felt like it was supposed to be a play on some like pagan holiday to maintain the traditions, respecting the moon and the sun and all that stuff, but really it's an excuse for people to just fuck.
No, it's an excuse for men to fuck, because women have no...
Women can't say no. Oh my god.
Can't say no. So even...
Wait, but it's not that they couldn't... It's not that, like, in general women couldn't say no. It was if you chose to get that, like, weird magic candy that you couldn't say no.
You're absolutely right, yeah. So
like, if I was just, like, hanging out, walking around festival night, and some dude was like, hey, let's bang, I could totally be like, no, you're gross. But if I bought this candy and I met a man who was like, hey, let's bang, I'd have to be like, yes, this magic candy makes me.
For a month.
Yeah.
That's a long time, too.
What the fuck? Like,
and
what if
somehow they're surprised that they end up with moon babies? Like...
like, you were straight up banging unprotected for like a month.
But that was the thing. The people who would get those candies would get them because they wanted to get a little festival baby, because then the dude would, like, usually marry her. So it was like shortcut into marriage, just like that.
Right, yeah, you're right. Okay, so Ari is in town. She is in Granny Gwen's shop, and there's like these other mean girls there.
Everyone's a fucking mean girl.
Like, their posse of mean girls are like in this fucking shop. They're getting this candy. And Granny...
Penis-shaped candy, anybody? Penis-shaped candy?
Like, it's a two-parter, right? One is like a penis-shaped candy, and then the other one is like a woman-shaped candy. And she gives the candy out, and she says, oh, I need one more person. And so Ari's there, and she's like, fine, I'll take the fucking candy. You know, because it needs to be a certain amount of people. So she takes the candy because she's too good. Because
she doesn't have friends, and she's like, maybe they'll talk to me if I eat this penis-shaped candy and get stuck in the spell for a month.
Like the sister or relative of Royce, who was like douche bro asshole. And I'm like, what are you thinking? Whatever. She's 17. She's a fool, obviously. Anyway, so...
so foolish.
So she is like, okay, I'll take the last candy. So she takes the candy, and with this candy, the magic is binding. If she doesn't follow this like ritual, the magic could like bounce back on her in a negative way, right? Did I understand that correctly?
Yes, basically, yeah. Like, if you don't follow the instructions, if you don't go out, if you don't hand it to the first man you see, then it'll come back to you threefold, like the rule of three. Something bad's gonna happen to you. It'll come bite you in the ass.
Okay. So the thing is that you have to carry the candy in your pocket. And when the Summer Moon Festival begins, when that evening comes around, you have to like be out of your house, and if you walk out of your house, and the first man that you see. Now, I don't know how the rules work, because like, what if you ran into like your uncle?
Ew.
I feel like here's the thing. You offer it to the first man you see. He's supposed to say no if it's fucked up. Like, if he's married,
like, uncle is a sick person. Like,
then you have to fuck your uncle for a month. That's what's gross about this.
It's so bad. Okay, so anyway, best case scenario, you run into like the guy you're like super into. You give him the candy, and you say some like cool, enchanting like shit, and then like,
I offer you my magical vagina for the moon goddess to live through.
Yeah, you eat the penis candy, and then like that's it. You guys hook up for the rest of the month. And so Ari, being a nice girl but also being a smart girl, is like, I'm going to go where I know I'm not going to run into anybody. She goes to, like, this beach alcove area where her mom used to hang and, like, have these solitary moments. But while she's at the beach, she sees in the distance
a black stallion.
Wait, hold on.
Friends
hold on.
in the distance.
What is that?
That's basically how it goes, and he's like galloping like on the sand.
Yeah, he notices her at the beach. He notices her, and then he like gallops towards her and is like, and she's like, oh no, I'm at the beach. Like she starts talking to it, you know, because she's nice even to animals, and so she's like, no, I have a right to be at the beach too. And then she's like, espérate, I've got this, you know, he's a male horse. Relax, it's not gonna get real graphic. So she's like,
this is not the dinosaur porn book, okay?
No, she doesn't have sex with the horse.
She gets flirty with the horse though. She's like, don't you whip your fifth leg at me. It's not gonna work. And the horse, is
like it's just there.
Yeah, you have great horse faces.
So she
the horse is like
she does the summer moon thing with the horse, and then I'm sorry. She does the summer moon. She gives the horse the candy. She has the candy. She says the thing, and she's like, love, whatever, friendship. And so the horse is like, cool. Like the horse like goes and like nibbles, like puts lips her face or whatever, like kisses her, and then like she's like, can I ride you? And he like lowers himself. She gets on the horse and she like has this like wild horses like at the beach. Who sings that? Who sings that? That's that lady from like Britain's Got Talent, right? Wild horses.
Anyway. And then she's like, what the hell am I doing?
Yeah, she's like, she sees someone standing like by the cliff, and she's like, oh shit, like maybe, I don't know. So she hides, and turns out that the horse was actually a Fey Lord.
Oh, Fey Lord! And not just a Fey Lord. Who was it?
Lord, the light bringer, like the bringer of fire and passion. I'm kidding. He's just and oh god.
The bringer of flashlights.
His name is Lucian, and he is the Fey Lord. He is like the king of the Fey, if I'm not mistaken, or he's like the Lord of light. He's the light bringer of the sun. Yeah. His sister is the queen or the lady of the Fey, and she is the Huntress. So she represents the moon. Although their hair is opposite. Like he's like dark hair, brooding, like blue eyes, and he represents the sun, but she's like redheaded and like fiery and feisty, and she's the sun. I'm sorry, she's the moon because reasons. Anyway, so he's like, I don't know if I should like do this. Like I want to, but I don't know. And she's like, do it.
You're really tense. You should go have sex with that stranger.
Yeah, you should really go have sex with that stranger.
You've been like crabby lately. I think you need to like go have meaningless sex with that.
Because
lady.
even
She's just a woman.
Yeah, and the thing is that they're stressing out because over there in Tira Lane, the roads are closing from one area to the next, and so they can't like frolic. They can't like have their fun like they usually do, and so they're pissed. They're like, ugh. And then he's like, oh, all these women, they want to have sex with me because they're running out of options. They don't have like have sex.
They want to have the Lightbringer's baby.
Jeez, I mean, come on, I want more, but not really.
Oh my god, yeah, he's like, I want something more meaningful, and then he meets her and she's nice to him, and he's like, and I like don't want to commit.
Nah, I was wrong.
Meanwhile, the other Fae are like, wait, what do you mean the bridge to Jamba Juice closed? God damn it! Who's doing this?
I just like shows up. I just like when he shows up and he's like, hey, you know me. I'm the horse. That's basically how that goes. And then she's like, oh, I guess I'll have sex with you because I gave you the candy.
No,
like,
he gives her a choice, though. He's like, it's got to be your choice. He does say that. I'll give him that.
Yeah, okay, but like if you have this like magical weird like ride on a black stallion in a beach, and then the stallion fucking shows up in your house and is like, I know I'm a stallion, but it's only part-time.
Guy.
Other times I'm this like hot man. Like, I mean,
I would just assume it was the devil and cast him out of my house. I'd be like, away with you!
She thought he was hot. She thought he was hot because.
Can we talk about like the way he has sex though? Because I just couldn't.
Yes,
I'm eating my 14th bowl of stew. Get out of here!
Really quick. So like.
They eat a lot of stew. Every other sentence.
You're so right.
There's so much. If it's not,
she's poor. She can't afford to make.
Everyone eats stew. All these people keep asking her for help, and no one will bring her a fucking sandwich. Like the girl is malnourished. Look at her garden. All these horses keep trampling on her greens. Just bring her a fucking shank. I don't know. I'm sorry. Food obsession.
You're fine. Just intense. A lot of stew. Okay. So he shows up and he's like, "Hey, girl. I heard you riding horses." And then she's like, "What are you talking about?" He was like, "That was me." So I gave her the contract, and she's like, "I didn't know that fucking horse was you." And he was like, "Well, it is me. So what do you want to do about it?" And she's like,
"All right, fuck it. Let's do this."
Then Andrea, let's talk about his love making.
It was just really because she's like nervous about having sex in general because the only time she's had sex was with like the douchebag asshole. Yeah, and it was like not a pleasant experience. So she's like really concerned about this. But then she loves the sex with him because every time they have sex, his like balls like bounce on her and like like
he's like, we were fooling around and it was fine, and then I felt his balls between my legs and I was like, ooh, this is real.
No, I made a bookmark, and so I'm reading this part because I was all for it. I was like, this is happening. And I was surprised that it happens really early on in the book. Like, it was like, oh, thank God, because sometimes when you're reading a romance, it takes a while. If there's going to be sexy time, sometimes it takes a long time for it to actually happen. And so, there, he's kissing her, and she's like, she's being seduced, and it's not unpleasant at all. He gives her the choice. She says yes, and so he goes about like, he's obviously more experienced than her. He's had sex with fae women and with regular women, and so he knows what he's doing. And she's super into it. She's like super into it. And so then this happens, and then I couldn't take anything that he did or anything that happened in the book seriously at all. Okay, so wherever he touched, she melted. By the time he coaxed her to remove her nightgown, she couldn't raise herself up without his help. Warm, so warm. Ari. It was so hard to open her eyes. Her body was answering his commands far better than it was answering hers. Ari. Oh, God. Indy's getting excited.
Indy's, I don't know.
When she finally opened her eyes, his face was above hers. He studied her for a moment, then smiled. She felt him shift, the pressure of his legs opening hers. He filled her slowly, then seemed content to remain still while he kissed her. All good, right? It's like, yeah, do this. And then this paragraph happens. It was his balls that finally changed the melting food. Sharper and hungry. They rested against her, brushing sensitive skin every time his muscles flexed. The ones where nothing had touched her before made her squirm. Lucian, she moaned, trying to find some way to ease the soft torment. Her fingers clamped on his buttocks, urging him to move. Lucian.
I'm just saying, I've never looked at a man and been like,
balls.
Balls.
Like that's what I like wrote on the thing. I wrote balls on there.
Them balls.
Because so everything is fine, and then balls happen, and I'm just like, I mean, I get it. Everyone's got their got there.
It was
really
like,
sexy.
I don't know. I just wasn't expecting it. I guess
Balls is one of those. It's kind of like
Pride and Prejudice and zombies. Like there were balls everywhere. Like it was all balls. But here it was like
but you didn't get balls during a sex scene. It wasn't like it was used for comedic effect.
Yeah, it was like, hey, you're your shotgun balls or whatever. But these are like real human balls.
Testes.
It's like
testes.
It's one of those things
I've never watched.
A lot of romance writers don't write like vagina or like vulva or anything like that. They don't write like those because it can be like off-putting, but this put me off in a way that I have never been put off. And like again, I was like, oh yeah, balls. Whoa, hard stop. And I had to reread it because I was like, wait, did I read that correctly? Maybe the balls of his feet? No, it was his balls touching her and like hitting her, and then she's like, woo! That's what she loved.
Yeah, I'm into this.
I mean, cool, good for her that she's into it, but I just think out of all the things she could have been into,
balls
of fire. He was the light bringer.
Goodness gracious, great balls of fire. That's what played during their first time together, guys.
Mandatory. So then, okay, so they fulfill their summer moon duties.
You said duty.
And, she catches the feels, though, doesn't she? She catches the feels for him a little bit.
A little bit. I don't think it's like I don't think she like wants to marry him and be with him forever. But I think she cares enough that she's like hurt by the fact that he only wants her for sex.
Yeah.
As opposed to like, Indy ja.
Indy agrees.
But you know what I mean? Like I don't think she like sees him as her soulmate or anything, but she's like, well, it'd be nice if you wanted to have like a conversation with me or like have some dinner, you know?
And the one time he goes and he's like, I'm gonna go have a conversation with her. She's got her period rags. Like drying outside, and he's like, ew! Doesn't come back.
Well, because she's on her period. He's like, hey, and he like makes out with her, and she's like, no, and he's like, what do you mean no? She's like, no, because I'm like, what? You can't say no. She's like, let me fucking talk. I'm on my goddamn period. And he's like,
ew. He's shocked.
Okay, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go now. I think she was just lonely. And when you're lonely, you do sad, desperate things.
Case in point.
No, but like
not all of us have made good decisions.
Yeah, still though, like still.
I could deal with some balls if I if I were oh so lonely.
Balls.
Mm.
But yeah.
All right, so my
Christina.
No, I froze.
Oh,
Did I
you're
freeze?
back. No, now
You're
you
back.
look like you have a headache.
It does look like she has a headache. Oh, she left.
No. Oh,
But Christina, you're frozen like this.
Christina, the pillars have been disconnected, and we can no longer reach you in Terror Lane.
Bullshit.
Yeah, it's literally a photo of you doing
She
that.
froze though. Like that's a reason.
It's adorable.
Okay,
like-
can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, I feel like it's back to normal.
Back.
There you go.
Okay, I'm back now.
The witch who was about to die was given a reprieve, and now the bridge is
Okay,
built
so,
up.
like, there's a whole bunch of other book that we, like, didn't even get into, but that was, like, the most jarring thing for me. One of the questions that I had here was, let's see, I put here, was the friendship between Diana and Ari ever genuine? Because, she seeks her out because she sees like this change in her brother, like he's constantly going over there, and she's like, oh my god, she suspects that Ari is a witch at one point, or she discovers that she's a witch, and she feels like she's got something to do with the roads closing. And then so she goes there under the pretense of like, you know, friendship, just to get to know her better, to get her on her side, you know, to make like this like friendship connection with her. But was that ever like, for you, was that ever real? Because I thought that was some fake ass shit. She said that you know, she really liked her.
I thought she liked her. Like I thought she enjoyed when she was with her. But I also don't think she would have hesitated. Like if someone said, hey, if you kill Ari, like, you'll solve your, like, road problem, she would have been like, oh, that sucks. Ari was a nice girl. Bang, dead. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think she cared about her more than, like, other humans or witches, but that's not really saying a lot.
Yeah, I think she only really started caring about her when she realized that she could be a means to ending the issue, and she just also happened to be a nice person. Like, even if Arya had been an asshole,
She's
just
still
super dull, Diana would have tried to make it work. Because even in the end, when she's worried that Arya's gonna die, she's like, oh, well, okay, yeah, let's sacrifice XYZ, let's do this, we need to make sure that she lives. But it wasn't like, I want her to live because she's my friend. It's, I want her to live because I don't want to not be able to get to Fairy Jamba Juice, and also she happens to be okay, I guess.
Yeah, that's my impression too. What about Morag? She was like an awesome character.
Love her!
God, she was.
Oh my god.
She was the interesting thing in this book. Morag is a fae that is, she's called the Gatherer of Souls, where she takes people into, once they die, she takes their ghost into the Shadowed Vale. Everyone wants to go to the Summerlands, and she's like, chill, you're not a fae, you can't go there. Like, I'm going to take you to the Shadowed Vale. And so she's the one that notices that the roads are closing also, but she takes very direct action.
Yeah, she's like smart about, like, I feel like all the other fae, it's like unless you like spell it out for them, they just have no clue. Where she's like, huh, there's this thing and there's this thing. Perhaps they are related? Okay, I'm gonna go down that road and investigate. Like, she's very able to, like,
deductive reasoning.
Yeah, she just has deductive reasoning, and she's just,
yeah, well,
she's really cool, and she genuinely cares, I think, about, like she would not, you know, have killed Ari or Neil or what, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like, she understands.
What about the thing that, okay, see, this is the thing. I was like, I get it. I get what she was doing. But at the same time, I'm like, why would she, remember that thing? She asks Lucian at the end of the book, she says, you know, she asks him to make a choice about Ari. I don't remember what it was, but I wrote down here, like,
she asks him if he would trade his life for Ari's. Because at one point, Neil thinks that Ari's going to die, and he's like, take me instead, take me, without knowing whether she's actually going to live or die. He immediately sacrifices his life, no questions asked. He's like, take me instead. And Morag is like, taken aback by how quickly and honestly he's willing to sacrifice himself. And Lucian, who's been boasting about having all these feels this whole time, she asks him the same question. Would you sacrifice yourself to if I can bring her back?
Do you think she knows he's going to say no, though?
I think she knows that he's going to say no, period, because that's, like, he's, like, incapable of that. And B, like, I think even if he had, like, said yes, she would have not done it anyways. He would have said, like, oh, I couldn't figure it out or whatever. Like, not even because of, like, her particular attachment to Ari, but because she doesn't strike me as the sort of person who would just start bringing people back. Like, that's not, like, I don't know. She seems to, like, be really on top of, like, her job description.
Yeah, she's.
You know what I mean?
She does to take out a few of the Inquisitors. Was anybody upset about what happens with Adolfo at the end? I wanted him to die a horrible death, and that didn't happen. And I was like, what? He gets to leave?
I know. No, I wanted him to die. I read it, and he touches her, and then his arm dies, and I was like, touch his dick! Kill his dick! Kill it dead. And then he's just like,
Indy was, like, trying to sneak up on my Oreos.
No, Indy.
I was like, all of a sudden I look over and, like, he's, like, here on the couch and the Oreos are right here.
He's doing Ninja Cat where he's just like,
yeah, no. Look at. Yeah, now he's leaning.
Oh, he's so camera shy. Little jerk. I love him.
God, no. What else did I want to ask you? So we talked about, well, Royce gets eaten. Royce gets eaten.
Fuck that guy.
Fuck that guy. So happy that he got.
His bitch sister got caved in. The house caved in on her. So
Yeah,
that was good.
all fucking died. It was amazing. I was like, yeah, but I really wanted other foot to like suffer because he made so many women suffer, like just horrible, horrible deaths, and like it was that didn't satisfy me at all. One last thing that I want to say. Okay, and what about what happens at the end? Was that a believable ending for you? Like, do you believe what happened? Like, they got away, and then they went into the I don't know what. I was so confused by that.
It was basically
how
like.
did you not know that they like survived? Like, was she
I think someone's eventually gonna find them out, but I thought it was believable only because they spent like several different times in the book they say, oh, we have nothing to do with those Fae clans because they're like kind of weird. So like it makes
They're
sense.
hipsters. We're not into that.
Yeah, so like I could see her like being there and nobody ever finding out because nobody ever goes there. Like gross. Like we don't want to have sex with them, so we're not gonna visit them.
God, yeah, they thought with their dicks. Like the whole time, people were just like, "What? But we can't have sex with them, or like sex this and sex that." And that's like what ruled their universe. It was like they were just thinking with their dicks the whole time. And the thing is that Morag is like essential in like figuring out what's happening. And once she does that, what happens to her? She gets banished.
The ending made me so sad though when she's like, Ari and Neil, and they're like, who are you taking? And she's like, I will never have friends.
No, but they do accept her, but you know she's there. She has this like weird conflict, like that's her job, and so people are naturally like afraid.
Wants people to like her and like.
I mean, then they invite her to stay.
They invite her to stay, a clan of her own. You know, like she stays.
I like.
After she tells them she's not actually here to take anybody's soul.
Oh shit! If she was fucking reap my soul and be like,
if we were hanging out and she walked in and she was just like,
you can't sit with us.
she's like looking at India and be like, yes. What are you doing here?
Came over.
Damn it! No, too I can't. His fists are squishy.
All right, so that's all I've got. I put that Fae were super racist, privileged. They had that's what I wanted to say about the Fae, that they had like privilege, and
I feel like you would call them like specious or something.
I put they were like racist against humans and like half-breed. And then they behaved like pieces of shit even after they realized that the pillars of the world were the witches. And then they created, Terralane as a haven, and then like something happened, they forgot. I feel like it's coming up in the next books maybe.
Yeah, which I'm not gonna read.
What? I was gonna.
But I got it at the library today.
I mean,
I feel like every time that we read like a series, I read the first one for like book club, and then I'm like, nah, I'm alright, guys.
But for real, this one's got the bard as the main character, and I like, have a thing for bards. I like love it.
That's what you said with the last one. You were like, I'm only reading it for like the cat guy, and then it was like 7 books later.
They were quick.
It's a trilogy. This is just a trilogy.
And it got better.
It did
like
much
5.
better.
It was like, oh, Tybalt.
All right, if you tell me that this one gets like way better, I'll think about it.
This is good, and there's only 3 of them. There's Shadows and Light, and the last one is the House of Guyane, and they're both at the library, so I'm gonna check it out. So
go for it. Oh, damn it!
And
I need to return the library book tomorrow.
This one, the Bard and the Muse are there. There were some other really cool characters. Let's talk really quick because like this is super long. But like let's talk about all the other characters that we didn't like get to touch on. There's the other Fae, Aiden, who is my favorite, only because I love bards, and
Falco.
And Falco.
And the Lord of the Horse.
Lord of the Horse.
Ahern is how I was pronouncing it.
Ahern?
Although I feel like it's them trying to write what would sound like. Because he's the Lord of the Horse, get it? Because Falco's a falcon. So, It made sense enough.
I made a list of the ones that I remembered. So Diana was the huntress. Lucian was the lightbringer. Lyra was the muse. Aiden was the bard. Falco for the falcons or birds.
Yeah.
Lord of the falcons. For horses. Morag, the gatherer of souls. Morphia, the fae of sleep and dreams. Then there was Cullen, who was also a douche. He was a lord of the woods. And then Ashk, who was a friend of Neil's mom.
Yeah, and like a distant cousin.
Yeah,
she's a fae.
The lady of the woods. There's also random small folk that no one gives a shit about. Like, no, it's like, whatever, that's small folk.
The lord of that button that you dropped under your bed 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, tiny people. Tiny people. Okay, so if you had to choose a fae to hook up with during the summer festival, who would it be? I know it's Morag, but just whatever. Say it again. Who would you choose, for real?
Well, no, okay, wait. If it was just for, like, the festival, then I would pick the Lord of the Horse, but if it was like, who would I like marry and have babies with, then it would be Morag, Death Lady.
Okay. I would hook up with Falco because he reminds me of that hawk from Animorphs.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh my god! Yes.
Didn't think of that, did ya?
I'm about to like lose battery, guys.
Animorphs were junk. Wow, it's been a minute. It's been like a minute.
Yeah.
Okay, so he would be your summer hookup, and would there be like another hookup? Would there be another hookup for you, like a long-term hookup thing?
Like a long-term monogamous relationship?
Yeah.
Maybe if there was like a Lord of Snacks. my permanent hookup.
The Lord of
the Guac. Oh my god. And on that day he broughteth to me the freshest of guac that would never darken.
Talking about to vary the summer moon festival tradition, like instead of like going out with candy, going out with guac and chips, and just being like, "Want to share this guac with me?" And then you just like share guac and chips, and you can say no.
And
like,
then you go home.
Like, I got some more guac at home, and they're like, "Sure." For me, I would aid Aiden all the way.
Oh, he's so handsome.
No, he was such a good dick, but also I couldn't help it. I just thought he was really cute. Yeah, it would just be him for both things for me, the bard.
Yeah.
He learned.
I could see you being amused.
He was humbled. He learned that Love's Jewels song, and he was like, "What? I'm supposed to know all the songs. How do you know this song and I don't?" So he learned it. So
what is this mixtape this underground mixtape I've never heard?
Yo, cut me a playlist for real.
I guess I can subscribe to your Spotify.
Yeah. All right. Anything else that you wanted to say before we like finish, because it's like super long and whatever?
I want to say thank you to Bonnie, who retweeted me tweeting about this hangout like a moment ago. And I tweeted her a photo that I took, and she said, "I look fancy." And I said,
"You look real fucking fancy. Like, you look fancy.
You really do."
I wish I had like.
You want me to read the back of this one to you?
Yes, before we sign off.
Okay. Ever since the slaughter of witches, the Fae, who should be shielding their long-lost cousins from danger, have ignored the needs of the rest of the world, and shadows are again gathering in the eastern villages, dark potent shadows that threaten the lives of every witch, woman, and Fae.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Oh.
Sorry.
Only 3 Fae can stand against the growing madness and help prevent more bloodshed. The Bard, the Muse, and the Gatherer of Souls. I mean, those were like the best characters, so that's why I'm reading it.
Fairy road trip!
Aiden, the Bard, knows how desperately the world depends on the Fae's protection, but the Fae refuse to heed his warnings about the wickedness lurking amid the trees. Now Aiden and his one true love, Lyra, the Muse, must embark on a perilous journey to find the one Fae that can convince the rest to leave their secure perches to save the witches and mortals, because if the Fae don't act soon, no one will survive. That okay?
That sounds good. I want to read that.
Alright, fine. It sounds like it would be okay. You read it. Tell me if it actually is, and yeah.
You can write. She just writes the same shit apparently, but she can write. Okay, so that's it. Let's say goodbye. All right, Internet. Thanks for watching us ramble about misogyny and
horse lords,
horse riding, wild horses,
and penis-shaped candy and balls.
Balls.
Balls, balls.
It's just there's like nothing attractive about it. Okay.
Anyway.
Till next time.
You want to hear a funny story today from work? It doesn't have to do with balls, but it does have to do with dicks.
Wait, do you want to say it online? Like, should I go off
Oh
on?
yeah, I mean it doesn't matter. If people don't want to hear the story, they can just leave now.
Go on.
One of my niece, she had this like giraffe stuffed animal. She was like carting around, and some of the other like teens kept like grabbing it, and they kept going like this to it, so its neck would bob up and down like that, and they kept like, laughing, and this girl was like, I don't get it, like what's so funny? Why are you doing that? And they were like, super creepy. So at one point I like call her over and I'm like, you're like pretending it's a penis, you know. Like, well, I like felt like I had to tell her, right? Because she seemed like she really had no idea what was going on. She seemed really confused. And she turns to me and she's like, but I thought like penises were like this big. Like, no, because like the giraffe was like, and I was like, what? This girl's like 13. But anyways, yeah, so that, I thought she didn't know what was going on because she was like so innocent, but really she was just confused as to why anyone would think such a gigantic neck resembled a penis. So
That's a good story. I'm glad we stayed live for that.
Yes.
And with that, we take our leave.
Goodbye, Internet.
Bye, Internet.